Good morning. Thank you for coming out and supporting the Hillsborough County Branch NAACP. We call this press conference because we'll be traveling to DC to participate in a commission briefing meeting held by the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights on Friday, March 18th. The topic of discussion is municipal policing and courts, a search for justice or a quest for revenue. We will specifically address how generating revenue through the municipal courts has negatively impacted the lives of low income communities of color, both directly and indirectly. For us, this specifically addresses the issues of biking while black, the disparities in policing in urban communities of color in Tampa, the lack of community policing and trust from minority communities from TPD, and finally, specifically requesting a citizens review board with subpoena power. We have called on various organizations in Tampa to assist with these issues. We stand in solidarity with Tampa for Justice, the local ACLU, SEIU of Florida, and CAIR-Florida. So to begin, we'll hear from the president of the Hillsborough County Branch NAACP, Dr. Benny Small.
Thank you very much for coming out today. I apologize, I got a little hoarse. Got what we call as a sciatic nerve, and it's giving me a bunch of problems. But anyway, thank you very much for coming out. The local branch of the NAACP has been involved with the United States Department of Justice as well as the Department of Civil Rights since they came down in July. We had actually talked with them, and we extended an invitation after they left to the mayor to come out and talk with us regarding the bicycle and the ticketing. The mayor refused to meet with us, and as a result of it, I gave the information back to the Office of Civil Rights in Washington, D.C., and they told us that we needed to come up and sit down and talk with the panel. So with that, what we did is move forward. We've been going to various meetings with our supporters, drafting other information so that we'll be able to have to present in Washington on Friday. One of the things that we find is very important, and that is that the mayor, for whatever particular reasons, has called the NAACP and other organizations fringe groups. We totally think that that's like a respect. The NAACP has 106 years of civil rights movement as well as organization within the community and addressing various problems in our community. So with that, that was just a slap in our face. He refuses to meet with us. He dodges. He don't want to sit down and talk to us. And as a result of it, he came and did a citizen review board himself, which without any subpoena power. So we're asking that we have that power, but also be able to look at those things that we need to take place in the community.
Next, we will hear from Councilman Frank Reddick, District 5.
Thank you. First, let me just thank the NAACP and all of the organizations that are here and that have been working diligently to take on this issue that affecting our community. But let me start by setting the record straight, and that is it was Frank Reddick who first called for the Department of Justice investigation. It was Frank Reddick who initiated through the City Council the establishment of the Citizen Review Board. And all of you can remember that the difficulties that the council went through in trying to establish a Citizen Review Board, where we didn't get the full support of the mayor of the city of Tampa. I'm disappointed to hear today that the mayor has refused to meet with the NAACP. I'm disappointed that the mayor continued to have the attitude that he doesn't have to meet with individuals who have differences of opinion than him. He's the mayor that represents all of the people, regardless of who they represent. I'm thankful that the Justice Department decided to meet with the members of the NAACP to find a solution to this problem. Let me remind you that the Justice Department promised us that we'll have a report for us in December of 2015. They came back and revised and said they'll have a report for us in January of 2016. Here we are in March, almost April of 2016, and we have not gotten a report. I don't think it's taken this long for the Justice Department to make a determination whether there were some violations that occurred in the city of Tampa, those who were ticketed with bicycles. And let me explain to you that even though you're not reading in the press, you're not hearing a lot of commotion about the bicycle ticketing, it is because the police are using discretion now because of the chief of police have requested that they use discretion in issuing tickets. But people are still being stopped. People have been stopped every day. 2 days ago, I saw 4 officers stop a bicyclist on 22nd Street. Why did it take 4 officers to be surrounded by one person on a bicycle? And that person did not get a ticket, they let that person go. So I'm hopeful that as we move forward, and those who are going to Washington, D.C., I hope that they will send a message to the Justice Department that the people in Tampa, the people on the Tampa City Council, we want answers to our inquiries, and we want them soon. We have waited long enough, and I think it's time for us to get a decision, whether it's favorable or not favorable. But we need to bring closure to this issue and not take it into 2017. So I hope that is a strong worded message that Dr. Small and others who are going will relay to the Justice Department that we in the city of Tampa want this resolved, and we want to resolve it quickly as possible. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Reverend Dr. Russell Meyer, Tampa for Justice and local pastor.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'm very pleased that Chairman Reddick could be with us this morning. Thank you for being here. Appreciated your words very much. We're very supportive of Dr. Small and what the local chapter of the NAACP will be doing in D.C. I am Reverend Dr. Russell Meyer, along with Reverend Charles McKenzie Jr. We co-chair Tampa for Justice. Today we're here to offer our full support in the mission that Dr. Benny Small is engaged in his testimony in D.C. We envision Tampa as a 21st century city of excellence. To reach this goal, we need to add missing components to our community. An essential component is high-quality relationships between the community and law enforcement. The President's 21st Century Task Force on Policing has helped document what such relationships look like. Community oversight of policing is integral to what high-quality relationships with law enforcement really are. Tampa has a lot of homework to do and a lot of ground to make up. 11 months ago, the Tampa Bay Times broke news stories on the alarming rate of bicycle tickets and arrests among our African American citizens. Additional stories laid out intolerable rates of arrest, policies that awarded officers for such behavior, and practices that intimidate residents in impoverished neighborhoods, just like the example Chairman Reddick gave a moment ago. Tampa for Justice emerged as a response to these news stories. Clergy, community activists, social justice groups, and individuals from the impacted neighborhoods began to meet regularly and discuss what could be done to make needed changes. Our efforts, along with the NAACP, well-respected black leaders, and established social justice groups, including the ACLU and CAIR-Florida, asked the Department of Justice to conduct a civil rights investigation and pressed the City Council to establish an independent oversight board. Instead, our mayor resisted calls for investigation and oversight with name-calling. Public pressure mounted. Eventually, he called in the Department of Justice to conduct a COPS program review, a specifically non-binding finding. The community was promised that the results of that review would be presented in a public forum sometime in last December. As of this date, although we understand that the Consulting Institute has completed its work, The public presentation of the results has yet to be announced. It is now 3 months overdue. The resistance to publicly reviewing policing policies continues. In face of a growing movement for an oversight board, the mayor also eventually appointed a civilian review board. City Council Chair Frank Reddick led a valiant effort for establishing an independent oversight board that could address community police relations with fairness, transparency, and confidence that all the facts of an incident were fully known. But political arm twisting led the council to back away and only establish a highly restricted board. The members of the Civilian Review Board are respected and well-meaning, but the board itself is run by the police department, and the police handpick closed cases for review. The mayor's board cannot receive citizen complaints or investigate them. Published statistics show that Tampa is truly an outlier in its practices of arresting and ticketing people of color. As many as 1 out of 4 African American males have been arrested in Tampa, going back over several mayoral administrations. This is a structural problem that requires a structural solution. Only an independent oversight board can help Tampa create a new set of realities in community police relations. The Tampa Police Department is filled with wonderful officers who want to serve the community and ensure its public safety. We celebrate everyone who seeks a career in public service. We want to make certain that the institutions that employ them are built on best practices and are dedicated to excellence in community relations. To that end, Tampa for Justice has begun a petition campaign to amend the Tampa City Charter so that the structures of our city include a community-based oversight board that has the resources and power, subpoena power, necessary to ensure fairness for all involved, transparency in all procedures and decision-making, and confidence that findings address all pertinent concerns. It's time to turn the corner on the last century idea that leadership means the police and municipal structures are tools for securing political power. That's old school in a big way. A 21st century city of excellence has structures in which healthy relationships are developed between political, community, and business sectors. The sooner we create such structures, the sooner we will realize the excellence we all seek. Thank you very much for coming.
Next, we will hear from Anna Lamb with SEIU Florida.
Thank you. As a community member, we cannot accept this. We are being requesting a transparent citizen review board. We are trying to be part of this community, and they are not letting us. This is why we are here, because we support a transparent community, a transparent elected officials that are there for us. We elected because they were going to represent us. But this time, the mayor is not representing us. He's not listening to our petitions. And like it's been said, we need this. And we will continue supporting those organizations and those leaders that are looking for justice. The Black community, the Hispanic community, the minorities are in need of this. We cannot stop this. We need to continue. Every single day we receive complaints also from the Hispanic community. It was surprising to see the numbers with the Black community. If we add the Hispanic community on this, it will double or triple. This is something that we need to stop. And if our voices need to be heard with different channels, like what is happening today, we will continue to support. We are part of the community. We are supporting and we are been participating actively in this community, and we are not going to let this to stop. Thank you.
Finally, we will hear from Layla Abdelaziz with CAIR-Florida.
Hi, good morning everyone. I'm Layla Abdelaziz with CAIR-Florida. I'm actually just here to answer any questions in case anyone has questions about the ballot initiative. So I just don't have anything much else to add to the conversation.
So upon our return back to Tampa on Saturday, we'll provide the community with any information we receive, any updates, and hopefully we can receive the report from the Department of Justice. Thank you for coming out and thank you for supporting the NAACP. Are there any questions?
Yeah, we heard, I think Dr. Meyer talked about the petition gathering has already began. If I could hear more about that and what the campaign is going on that.
We have some samples of the petition here. We have filed with the Hillsborough County Supervisor of Elections. As far as we have been told, we're the first group that has ever sought to amend the city charter of Tampa. We need to raise a little over 21,000 petition signatures by the end of July to be on the November ballot. I've had conversation this morning with Chairman Reddick, and I know that now that the City Council will be looking at its regularly scheduled charter review, what our petition's talking about, I think falls in line with a lot of things that the City Council may be looking at. This is the time, it's now. Just to share with you, our petition calls it a Civilian Investigative Panel. That language is intentional. It's based upon the research we've done around the country. Tampa is one of the largest cities of its size that has no meaningful community oversight of policing. We're an outlier in that regard. I mentioned the President's 21st Century Policing Report. There was only one Floridian who participated in that. Former Chief Castor was a consultant to the body, so much of that report has not yet seen the light of day in Florida in any meaningful way. What we're proposing was in consultation with what has been put into place in Miami, looking at the deficits that has occurred in Miami and trying to take into account the deficits that were there. And so we're looking for a panel that would include political elected officials, appointing those who are members of it. It would have its own staff. It would have its own budget. It would have subpoena powers. It would be unrestricted in the cases that it could pick up. Citizens could appeal to it directly. Right now, a citizen, if they have a police complaint, have to go directly into the police department, go through several layers of police inquiry simply to fill out a complaint form. That whole process is a form of intimidation by itself.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of things that never get brought to the light of day because you have to have a lot of personal courage to file a complaint in this city. And so there are a lot of changes that just need to be put into place. We've just begun our campaign. We hope to hold a major press conference in the upcoming weeks when we've put all of our structural components behind so that we can talk about it more in the full, but I'm happy to answer any other questions.
How confident are you that you'll get, the 21 signatures, and should you get those signatures, it goes to the ballot, that the general populace will agree with you?
We have a lot of confidence in the righteousness of what we're doing. And I'm a man of the cloth. That's the only confidence that I need in order to answer my call to be in the room. What we know from some polling that was done by St. Leo University in December is that the suburban communities don't see the problem.